New week, more tournaments, and a change in the meta. That's what we're going to be talking about in today's video, and there definitely has been changes. So in Pokemon TCG Pocket, the meta currently has been a lot of Pikachu, a lot of Mewtwo, and then most recently Charizard has been popping up and has been blasting through the meta, especially against those Mewtwo decks. But this new week, we're starting to see a new deck start to put in a lot of good results into recent tournaments, all because of one card. That card was the promo Jigglypuff card that came with the Venusaur event. This Jigglypuff is a colorless 50 HP basic card that has a single attack Sing that for one colorless energy, you can immediately put the opponent's Pokemon to sleep. And this is very valuable because in the TCG Pocket meta right now, coin flips are not as bad as the original TCG. So relying on coin flips is actually not a terrible idea. And sleep has a 50% chance for the opponent to continue to stay asleep when it reaches their turn. And so it turns out that this 50% chance is actually pretty good and ends up being consistent enough where a Wigglytuff deck can actually shine and beat the meta. So this past weekend, there were two featured tournaments. Ursa Days Pocket Weekly number 6, as well as 12 Days of Christmas TCG Pocket. So let's go ahead and take a look at the first one. And in this video, I'm not really going to rehash all of the information that we know already about Pikachu and Mewtwo. We'll go over it very briefly, but we won't go into too much depth. So in the recent Ursa Day Pocket Weekly tournament, we can see that a Wigglytuff and Arbok EX deck got 4th place. That is absolutely crazy, and I think that we can probably see this deck starting to pop up more in tournaments. Turns out that, yeah, sleep can actually be pretty consistent. So let's go ahead and take a look at the deck here. It's going to be running Arbok, Weezing, and Wigglytuff EX, 2 Sabrinas. There's no Giovannis in this deck, presumably because there aren't really any breakpoints that are important enough that we need to hit. So instead, they're just opting for 2 Sabrinas, 2 Kogas for the supporters. It runs, of course, the Research and the Pokeball. Those are the staples. And you've got your X Speed. No potions. Very interesting. And also, it's just a 1-1 line of the Jigglypuff Wigglytuff EX line. Most of the deck is really just the Team Rocket package. Arbok and Weezing. Weezing is very powerful. Arbok is also really strong. Arbok prevents retreating, and then Weezing is just like 1 energy cost and also poisons the enemy. Coughing is really good if you go first, because then on your 3rd turn, if you have Weezing in hand, you can immediately start putting on some crazy pressure. Ekans is really good going 2nd. It allows you to evolve on your on the 4th turn in the game, and it allows you to attack with Arbok immediately on your 2nd turn. And then the 2 Kogas are super powerful. It's a really strong pivot option. It allows you to take your Weezing back, fully heal the Weezing, and then promote another Pokemon into the active spot. So I will say that this deck is pretty difficult to pilot. So it's not as easy as, say, Mewtwo and Charizard and Pikachu, where their game plans are relatively easy and straightforward. With this deck, you really have to understand where poison comes into play, where you want to actually trap the active Pokemon with Arbok, and when you want to go on the offensive with some sleeps with Wigglytuff, and then also, you know, really good timing with Koga. You're going to need that. Now, going back to Ursa Day's Pocket Weekly and then just the overall results, let's just get a quick recap on where Mewtwo and Pikachu and Charizard is standing. So it looks like in this tournament, Pikachu kind of made its comeback. We can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 Pikachu decks in the top 32, which, if I remember from last week, it was something like 5 or 6 Pikachu decks. So Pikachu kind of came back in this tournament. And then when it comes to the Mewtwo Gardevoirs, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, only 7 Mewtwo Gardevoir. So it kind of flipped, right? And then we have one Charizard deck here, a second one here, a third one here, and a fourth one. This variant being the Charizard Arcanine. So very interesting that the Charizard Moltres EX variant is the one that did the best, even though there were a bigger prominence of Pikachu decks in the top 32. Let's just go ahead and take a look at this. Let's see if it did run Arcanine. Okay, this deck did run Arcanine, but Limitless is just not actually showing that. So I take that information back. And let's take a look at the matches that they played. So they did end up playing against 4 Pikachu matchups, and they won against all of them except for one here. They lost here, so that was their one loss against a Pikachu and Electro deck there. So, but that's kind of where we're standing right now. Pikachu and Mewtwo still very popular, still very powerful. And Charizard still has its place in the meta, being pretty much just anti-meta to Pikachu and Mewtwo. But the Wigglytuff deck is what you want to keep an eye out for. It seems like this deck is really starting to rise in popularity and in win rate. So let's go ahead and take a look at the other featured tournament here with about 650 players. And in this one, we had a top 16 with a Wigglytuff Arbok here getting 8th place, and then also a Wigglytuff Executor deck hitting 13th place. So this deck might have some sauce to it. Who knows? This might have some sauce. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 Pikachu decks, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Mewtwo Gardevoir decks, and then we had 1, 2 Charizard decks, and then we had some Articuno and Greninja decks in this top 16, and the Starmie variant here with the Articuno here hitting 6th place. So again, I did mention that the Articuno Greninja deck was a very solid deck, and it made a pretty good showing in this tournament. And then, of course, our 8th place here with the Wigglytuff Arbok. And let's just go ahead and take a look at how they decided to play. So they're also running the Team Rocket package, and then the 1-1 line. They have replaced one of their Kogas with a Giovanni, and this deck is also playing potions, whereas the other list was not playing any potions. And actually, I don't recall if the other one was playing X Speed or not, but these lists are very slightly different. So interesting to see there. But you know, the core Pokemon package is there. It's just how they wanted to play their supporters and items. And you know what? While we're at it, let's just go ahead and take a look at the Wigglytuff Executor deck. So this is running a 2/2/1 EX. Wow. And then 2 of the regular Executors. That is super interesting. And then a 2/2 line here, also running a regular Wigglytuff with 100 HP and a two colorless attack, Hyper Voice, and a Farfetch'd, 1 Sabrina, 1 Giovanni, Pokeballs, 1 Potion, 2 Speeds, Professor's Research. This is an interesting deck list. I can see this deck just moving very fast with the Executors, and then also just kind of, you know, putting your enemy to sleep, and then using these 2 cards kind of as tech cards, I guess. Also just deny the enemy 2 points and then just 1 point instead to take essential points when they need it. So I don't think that this deck is going to be easy to pilot. So congrats to Jeff Hoogland for placing very well in the tournament with this deck. That deck does not look easy to play. Let's take a quick look at the Greninja deck. We're running 2/2 Greninjas and 3 Articunos, 2 of the EX, and then 1 of the regular Misties, Sabrinas, Research, and no Giovannis, some X Speed, a Red Card, and Pokeballs. So pretty standard list with the Pokemon and the supporter choice and the item choice. So yeah, again, keep an eye out on this deck. I think this deck is very solid deck, can get you some really good wins. So what do you guys think of the new Jigglypuff card? I personally said that this card would not really make any huge differences, but clearly I was wrong, and that 1 energy Sing attack has made Wigglytuff EX a lot more consistent. However, I did say that it was a straight up upgrade to the previous Jigglypuff, and I think that I was still correct in that. But seeing that Wigglytuff is now seeing very high placements in tournaments, I think that this Jigglypuff did make quite an impact on the meta, and I would say give Wigglytuff EX decks a try, and let me know how it goes. Also, guys, let me know what you guys think about this deck. What do you guys think about the meta now? Drop a comment down below, and until next time, thanks for watching. If you made it this far, drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time.